Okay, so Google's just announced the capability to export your Drive and inventory logs to BigQuery. So things like you can view labels and ownership of documents and so on, just more granular control over your inventory reporting from Google Drive. Okay, next up, migration, migrate users' emails. So I think, Peter, you're going to jump in with this one and talk about this tool.
Yeah, thanks, James. So yeah, the data migration service in your admin console, it's been around for a while, but traditionally it's only useful for migrating IMAP accounts onto your Google Workspace domain. So Google are expanding this data migration service to better support things like migrating users from Exchange, consumer Gmail accounts, and other Workspace domains. And the key update here is it now also supports data migrations. So you can do one migration, then rerun that a couple of weeks later, and it will just move over the changes. And there is also some support coming for migration for chat messages. So if you have some users on Teams and you want to get them on Google Chat, then the migration service here will help support that for you as well.
Thank you, Peter.
My pleasure.
So just a quick reminder, what we've done here, or what I've done is, if you see or maybe you probably can't see the controls, but we've actually got a couple of skipped slides. There are a few releases that we're not going to talk about. So things around client-side encryption or Google Meet hardware, just because there's so many releases, we are skipping past a couple of updates. But the deck, which you have access to, you can go through and you can see every single update there if you want to find out the latest on client-side encryption, for example. Okay, so Google recently announced the ability to create an email or an email address for a Google chat space. So you can actually send an email to a chat space with an announcement or something similar. And so to do that, you go to your admin console and go to Google Chat, manage spaces, and that's where you can generate the email or generate the email address so that you can email that space. Okay, next up, just a slight change to the Google Workspace Marketplace. There's now a featured partner apps section just at the top. No huge updates there. It's not new. It's just a reorganization of the marketplace. So recommended apps at the top. Okay, this has been going on for about 12 months, talking about third-party chips, are now fully available in Google Sheets. So actually, the number of supported apps has increased, and I can see that Canva is now there as well, along with Whimsical. So this is the ability to draw in data. So it could be visualizations in Canva. It could be brainstorming charts from Whimsical or anything like that from any of these. Zoho projects, project management. So you can draw in information from those third-party apps directly into Google Sheets. It's kind of making Google Sheets like the home of project management almost. In general, smart chips are really good. If you haven't looked at them recently, just in Docs or in Sheets, just tap on the app sign and you'll see all of the different smart chips which are available on your account. Okay, so it's now possible on Google Meet to automate recordings, transcripts, and notes. So that means you can pre-select these when you create your calendar events. When you create your calendar event, add Google Meet to it, click on Google Meet settings, and you can set up the transcript or the recording ahead of time. So you don't forget to do that, of course. On Google Chat, a couple of updates to Chat. One of them is the ability to enable transcriptions for voice messages. So if somebody adds a voice message to a chat, then you can enable a transcription. So people, rather than, I get voice messages in chats or on different chat apps, it's always annoying to have to play that when you're outside, but now you can just see a transcription of that. Quick update for Google Forms is the capability to add a rating question type in Google Forms. So we'll update there, and you can change, I think, the emoji to apply the rating in the question. You can have like hearts or stars and other things as well. Okay, this is a really good update, I think, and I think taking a leaf out of Microsoft's notebook. OneNote, if I can say that. This is brilliant. So within Google Docs now, you have the ability to create tabs. So previously, you could have your table of contents, and when you click through to different headers, you could click through to different pages, different sections within your doc. This is different. This is actually creating different tabs within your documents. So it doesn't just go to a different page. It doesn't just scroll down. It actually goes to a different tab within the document. They are fully customizable. You can change the names. You can change little emojis. You can change the nesting as well. You can have sub tabs, I guess, if that's the word for it. It's really cool to play around with. You can get to it. I think it's from I forget, it's a tools menu or the insert menu. I forget where it appeared now. But it's super easy to get, especially with those bigger documents where you've got projects or larger scale documents. It's really good to have those tabs, much easier to access. Jeff, I think no, I wasn't able to do that. I only saw them on the left. Yeah, the left. Yeah, definitely. What I showed this to somebody using OneNote, and they were like, "Oh yeah, wow, that's because OneNote's quite a popular tool from Microsoft." One of the big features from OneNote is that capability to better organize documents. Okay, slight update to Google Drive. It's just a way in which search works. It's just becoming more easy. It's easier to access the filter chips. We've seen a couple of updates over the last few months to Google Drive's organization and search and so on. And this is just, again, making it easier when you type in a keyword or a few letters, it will suggest different smart chips or different words to search on. So again, just making it easier to uncover the information you're looking for. Okay, a slight, very small update to labels in the label manager. So now the label manager obviously sits separately if you're applying labels to documents. Just a slight change to the option list field. You can have two separate field types on the option list field in those labels. Something really got to dive into to look at this. It's very hard to make this an exciting update. Please bear with me a moment. But yeah, so if you're creating these labels, you have two separate field types in the label manager. Labels are really useful, just sort of revisiting that. And I know we talked about this recently. Labels are a really, really useful way to help protect your content as well, and to mark files as confidential or containing student data. And if you can combine that with DLP, you can have labels automatically being applied to files. Okay. Abraham, yes. Just quickly addressing your question, because we were talking about Drive. Abraham asked if you can search for specific content. Yes, you can. So within Google Drive, yes, you can. You just type it in the search bar for specific content. Okay, so update to spelling suggestions in Norwegian. I didn't realize that there were two different alphabets, I guess. Any Norwegian speakers in the audience today to add some context to this? Okay, we'll skip past this. Great update for Norwegian speakers. Okay, Gemini is now appearing in Gmail on iOS devices. This is great because I have an iOS device. I miss my Android device, but it's great. You see all of the Gemini features now appearing if you have a Gemini license, all within Gmail as well. So they help you write. You see the Gemini icon as well. So in the mobile versions. Okay, Google Meet now has a watermark feature to protect your content. So, for example, with this community call, we could add a watermark, and then if anybody else records it or screenshots it, they're going to see that watermark in that recorded content. So if your school is perhaps producing content, or I know that if some of you probably know Siti from the YouTube channel Flipped Classroom Tutorials. Siti's done years of training with AppsEDU. Recently, one of his YouTube videos was ripped and dropped into a Chinese movie. It's quite funny. There's a movie on Netflix that now has a clip of Siti's YouTube channel. It's quite funny. But anyway, just thinking about recorded content, you can add watermarks to your Google Meet recordings or Google Meets. Quick one here, DLP's enforcement in Gmail is instantaneous. It's an open beta, so access to everybody. So no delay on the enforcement of DLP rules now. Okay, some updates have come to Google Sheets. I was just talking to somebody earlier today. I think that the Gemini in Sheets is probably the area where we're going to see the largest amount of growth for Gemini. And one of the features that's come out is the ability to create structured tables, so not just unstructured data. And there's another one recently announced that there's better data analysis and chart creation tools coming to Gemini as well. So again, a lot of Gemini updates at the moment. But I think those data analysis features which are coming are going to really improve the experience for that. Oops, let me get rid of this. Slight change again. If you're using Gemini Advanced, what you would have seen before, if you noticed, you would have seen Gemini Pro on education and work accounts, and on your personal account, you would have seen Gemini Advanced. They've just unified that branding, so you see Gemini Advanced everywhere. That's what this update is. So you'll have seen, if you're using Gemini, it would have gone from Gemini Pro to Gemini Advanced. Again, I think we just mentioned this, Gemini Access within Gmail. So again, you can provide contextual smart replies. So again, they help you write features, which are looking at the message thread to generate that reply. Okay, Google Sheets had a non-Gemini update. Google Sheets had an update with conditional notifications. So you can create, for example, if a value or a field is updated in a specific way, if a value goes over a number, for example, you can get conditional notifications for that. But it's good if you're doing project management, for example. If you change the status of a field, you could get a notification on that. If you're monitoring any kind of academic or financial data and a number changes above or below something, you can create a conditional notification for yourself as well. Because it also could work on dates also. Okay, Google Docs had a little feature update here with the ability to add a cover image. This should be a GIF, actually. It doesn't really show what it is. But what happens now is you get a header image across the top. So you can add a cover image to your Google Doc. I think combining that with tabs as well, it kind of just improves the look and feel of using Docs online. Okay, Gemini has some features which are being launched to Google Classroom, including creating lesson plans, creating stories or books, generating quizzes, or releveling text. Now, I noticed this morning that I was speaking with Brian and the team and Carrie at International School Manila. They already had access to these tools, but I noticed on our demo domain, Peter, I noticed on demo GFE, so Google's demo domain that Peter manages, we don't have access to it yet, but it's already been rolling out to schools, ironically.
So just to step in there, James, I think the reason for that is we have two different license types on that domain, and you need the education license for that. So
oh, is that why? Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
Thanks for jumping in there, Peter. Yeah, so it has already begun rolling out. And what's key to note here is using Gemini, but specifically it's using LearnLM. So LearnLM is Google's LLM designed for learning, obviously, which is slightly different. So it's going to provide better structured responses specifically around learning. So it's using LearnLM for these features within Classroom. This is a very specific release. Does anybody have a Pixel 9 Pro Fold device? If you do, you can now have dual screen on Google Meet for that one device. Okay, this is a big one. I think everybody by now has seen how amazing Notebook LM's audio features are. So turning basically any resources into a podcast. You can drop your school website into Notebook LM. You could drop your resume into Notebook LM. It's a really, really useful tool. It is now an additional service. So for the longest time, Notebook LM was it was in beta basically. And now it's sitting as an additional service, which provides a little bit of confidence that Google's not going to kill it off this year, let's say. It's impossible to know what Google's going to do with it, but as it is now an additional service, it's governed under the same Workspace terms as Google's additional services. Again, it's for over 18s only at the moment, but really, really cool tool. Some of the great ways you can use this for, you can share notebooks within your domain. So one thing you can use it for is an organizational chat app. So for example, you could put your staff handbook in there, your teacher handbook, and then you could share that and people can ask questions about the handbook. It's a really cool way to do that. Loads of ways to use this. Okay, I think we mentioned this last time, but with that Notebook LM release, I think we've reached the end of the updates for this month.